Welcome back to The Explainer. Normally I try to keep things pretty upbeat and high energy around here, but today we're going to drop that tone for a minute. We're diving into a deeply unsettling modern mystery. There are no 5-star ratings on this trip, just a truly chilling narrative straight from the sources, known as The Smiling Passenger. And look, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill urban legend, it is an incredibly meticulous account of a terrifying nighttime cab ride that goes completely off the rails. Today we're breaking down the timeline, the evidence, and the downright horrifying sequence of events that left a man missing and investigators scratching their heads. So lock your doors and let's get into exactly what happened on that dark road, and more importantly, why this mysterious passenger hunts drivers in the first place.
Where I am already waiting. Just sit with that sentence for a second. Imagine you're a cab driver, your passenger gets in, you ask a totally standard, normal question like, "Sir, where to?" And that is the response you get. This single, incredibly creepy line is the exact moment this routine trip turns into an absolute nightmare. I mean, it completely defies logic, right? It instantly tells us that whoever, or whatever, is sitting in that back seat operates completely outside the normal rules of time and space. It's this weird paradox, and it serves as the perfect hook for the terror that's about to unfold.
Section 1. The 2:17 a.m. booking.
So let's dive into exactly how this started. Every great mystery has an inciting incident, right? Well, our guy here, a hard-working cab driver named Aryan, gets this booking at exactly 2:17 a.m. He's just a regular guy working the graveyard shift, trying to make a living. But the details of this specific booking are exactly what set the trap. It wasn't a pickup in some busy downtown area. The location was a deserted road way outside the city limits. And the isolation of that 2:17 a.m. hour, that's absolutely crucial to understanding how and why this entity hunts. At that hour, the world is asleep. The roads are completely empty. No witnesses, no passing cops, not even any ambient light from nearby houses. Cab drivers are uniquely vulnerable in the dead of night. And this passenger clearly weaponizes that physical isolation to make sure his target is entirely cut off from help before the car even goes into drive. When Aryan finally pulls up to this desolate pickup spot, he finds a guy waiting for him in the pitch black. He's dressed head to toe in black clothes, standing perfectly still. But the most disturbing detail wasn't the outfit, it was his face. The guy is wearing this strange, unsettling, just fixed smile. He doesn't wave, he doesn't check his phone to confirm the ride, he simply opens the door and gets into the back seat without making a single sound. The silence in the car was heavy, it was oppressive, and it immediately set off alarm bells for Aryan that something was terribly, terribly wrong.
Section 2. The Lonely Road and Cemetery.
Okay, so Aryan is driving, and he keeps nervously glancing at this smiling man in the rearview mirror. And this is where the trap officially snaps shut. Let's track how this actually goes down, because this is where the passenger's hunting strategy gets incredibly aggressive. At 2:17 a.m., the booking comes in, the passenger gets in the car, but then all of a sudden the GPS completely dies. A split second later, the mobile network completely vanishes, just 0 bars. And then the car physically forces itself to a stop right in front of an old, broken-down cemetery. Guys, this isn't just random bad luck. This timeline brilliantly illustrates a very systematic hunt. The entity is deliberately stripping away every single piece of Aryan's technology, severing his last ties to the outside world, and trapping him in this specific cursed location. So the car is dead, the phone is dead, panic is seriously setting in. Aryan slowly turns around in his seat to face the guy in the back, only to find an entirely empty seat. The passenger has literally vanished into thin air without a single door ever being opened. But he didn't leave empty-handed. On the seat where the man was just sitting, Aryan finds wet mud, which is a highly disturbing detail because it suggests something was recently unearthed from a grave, and sitting right there in the mud is a mysterious, old, faded photograph. Aryan reaches back and picks up the photograph, totally shaking at this point. And it's a picture of the exact same man who was just in his car, wearing the exact same black clothes and sporting that exact same smile. But printed right beneath the image is this terrifying inscription, Death, 17 July 1998. This detail is massive. It's the key to this entire explainer. It reveals that this passenger actually died decades ago. He is a spirit trapped in a cycle, bound to this specific cemetery since 1998, and it tells us exactly why he hunts. He is endlessly repeating the timeline of his own death, luring the living out to his graveyard just to pull them into his eternal purgatory.
Section 3. I haven't gotten off yet.
At this point, all logic is just out the window. Arian is locked in a dead car at a cemetery holding actual proof of a ghost in his hands. He drops the photo, desperately grabs his keys, and frantically tries to start the engine so he can get the heck out of there. But right at the absolute peak of his panic, "I haven't gotten off yet." That impossible voice suddenly echoes so loudly, but it's not coming from the back seat. It's blasting directly out of the car's own stereo speakers. It's this overwhelming auditory assault. The entity hasn't just vanished. It has completely enveloped the vehicle. It's controlling the electronics, the door locks, the speakers. There is absolutely no running from a threat that has literally become the machine you are sitting inside of.
Arian is frozen. But, almost entirely against his own will, he slowly raises his eyes to check that rearview mirror one last time. The smiling face is back in the rear seat, but this time any illusion of humanity is completely gone. The man's eyes are pitch black, soulless voids. It's the face of pure predatory entrapment. And the last thing the source material records from that night is the sound of Arian's piercing scream echoing out into the empty darkness.
Section 4. The final mysterious photograph.
Fast forward to the next morning. The sun comes up, and we shift gears to the cold, hard lens of a police investigation. The darkness might have faded, but the mystery only deepens when local authorities respond to reports of an abandoned vehicle on the side of that desolate road. Crime scene investigators document a few incredibly eerie points. First, they find the cab parked haphazardly near the cemetery. Shockingly, the engine is actually still running, just purring quietly in the morning air, which implies the driver vanished in a split second. But there is absolutely no sign of Arian anywhere. No footprints leading away into the dirt, no signs of a physical struggle. It's just an entirely empty cab. The driver is simply gone. But they do find one crucial piece of evidence left inside the vehicle.
But here is the absolute craziest part of this entire explainer. Look at the horrifying contrast in the evidence here. The police bag, that old photo found in the car. But it isn't the same photo Arian looked at in the middle of the night. During the night, the photo showed only the dead man from 1998. But the morning photo, it is fundamentally changed. It now shows the smiling dead man standing right next to Arian. This brilliantly and quite brutally illustrates exactly why this passenger hunts. He doesn't kill his victims in the traditional sense, he captures them. He traps their souls inside that cursed photograph, forcing them to share in his eternal, smiling nightmare. Arian was literally erased from the physical world and relocated into the film of a dead man's picture.
It is just a masterclass in supernatural entrapment, the isolation, the technological sabotage, and finally, the spiritual capture. It leaves us with a deeply unsettling reality about the vulnerabilities of the people who work in the dead of night. So I want to leave you with a provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. Look at the facts. Look at how methodically this trap was sprung. What would you do if you were Arian? If you were miles from civilization, your phone was dead, your car shut itself down, and a voice came through your own speakers telling you the ride wasn't over. Think about that the next time you find yourself driving on a lonely road in the middle of the night. Until our next explainer, stay curious and stay safe.